Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're embarking on a journey that is, honestly, radical. It's deeply liberating, and it's going to completely transform how you see yourself. We are going to systematically deconstruct who we actually think we are. So, get ready to look at your own identity in a totally new light. Picture this for a second. Imagine you've just been stripped of everything. And I mean literally everything. You lose your job title. Your bank account hits absolute zero. Your social media followers? Gone in a flash. Even the way you look, your fitness, your distinct personal style is totally taken away from you. So, who's left? For most of us, facing that scenario brings up this sudden, cold shiver of terror. And you know what that terror is? That's the sound of your ego realizing it's built its entire house on quicksand. It's kind of like this. We spend our entire lives decorating a self that isn't actually us. We think, oh, I am my job, or I am my college degree, or I'm the funny one, or the successful one. But actually, these are really just superficial stickers that we've slapped onto a suitcase. And today, we're going to pop the locks on that suitcase and finally see what's actually inside.
Okay, let's dive into this. Before we go any deeper, we really need to clear up a massive misconception. When I say the word ego, I am absolutely not talking about the guy at the gym who yells while doing heavy bicep curls. That's just a symptom. In psychological terms, your ego is simply your social interface. It's the literal operating system your brain uses to navigate the world. It's this huge collection of stories, memories, and labels that you use to explain yourself to others and to yourself. Its main job? To keep you safe by making you someone. Think of it like a protective suit of armor you put on as a little kid. But over time, you just forgot you were wearing the suit, and you actually started believing you were the metal.
So how does this all happen? Well, psychologists point to the mirror stage. This happens when a young child first recognizes their own reflection. It's this moment of absolute triumph, right? Like, wow, that's me. But tragically, it's also our very first great loss. Because right in that exact moment, the child identifies with an image. They've essentially traded their internal, formless experience of simply being alive for a static external picture. From that day forward, we stop living from the inside out. We start living from the outside in, obsessing over how the reflection looks and completely forgetting the one who's actually doing the looking. Section 1. The fragile identity and its 3 traps. You see, we tend to build our identities out of 3 incredibly fragile materials. First up is the career or status trap. I am a senior VP, or I am a creator. Second is the appearance trap. I am the beautiful one, or I am the fit one. And this one is especially cruel because time is literally the ego's greatest enemy. Think about athletes who face a massive identity crisis the moment their bodies start to break down. And third, there's the moral or role trap. I am the good mother, or I am the reliable friend. Now, even though these are positive labels, they still act like cages. If you define yourself purely as the helper, you're going to feel like a total failure the moment you actually need help yourself. You basically become a slave to a character you created. Consider this for a second. When your identity is tied to what you do, your self is at the absolute mercy of the economy, your boss, or some random algorithm. Think about a high-powered executive who finally retires. It is incredibly common for them to suddenly fall into a really deep depression. Why? Because they didn't just lose a paycheck, right? They lost their I. Without that big title, they literally do not know how to exist in a room. Their entire identity was outsourced.
Moving on to Section 2, the neuroscience of the I.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how science perfectly validates this whole breakdown. Up in your brain, you have what's called the default mode network. Basically, your narrating self. This part of your brain is frantically focused on the past and the future, just constantly judging and worrying. It is inherently fragile, and its only function is to tell a frantic, non-stop story about what is happening. Contrast that with your experiencing self, or the witness. This part lives entirely in the present moment. It just observes and feels without any judgment at all. It is utterly constant, and it actually experiences what is happening, rather than just talking about it.
You see, the narrating self is really just a storyteller. It takes the raw data of your everyday life and spins a narrative out of it. Like, oh, I got passed over for a promotion because I'm just not good enough. But you absolutely have to realize this vital point. The story is not reality. The story is just a comment on reality. It's simply a voice in your head analyzing the present moment, rather than being the present moment itself.
Let's move to and see how this builds in Section 3, deconstructing the I, using niti-niti. So niti-niti is this fascinating meditation practice from ancient Advaita Vedanta philosophy, and it simply means not this, not that.
I want you to go ahead and close your eyes for just a second while we try a quick thought experiment. Ask yourself, are you your body? Well, no. Your cells are completely replaced every 7 years. You have the exact same core self you had when you were 5 years old, even though your physical body is totally different now. So you are definitely not your body. Okay, what about your thoughts? Are you your thoughts? Nope, you're the one hearing the thoughts. If you can observe a thought passing by, like a cloud in the sky, you can't actually be the thought itself, right? Are you your emotions? No again. You feel anger, sure, but that anger comes and goes. The you that feels it remains behind. So, if you peel back the body, and the thoughts, and the emotions, and all those superficial stickers on the suitcase, what is actually left? What's left is pure awareness, the witness. It's that quiet, silent space in which your entire life happens. This right here is your stable self. It doesn't need a promotion to feel whole. It doesn't need to look a certain way to have value. It just is. It has been quietly watching the show all along.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Your ego is probably screaming right now, imagining this terrifying, empty void. It's saying, wait, if I don't have my goals and my shiny identity, I'll just sit on the couch and be a total nobody. I'll turn into a vegetable. But listen, that fear is just a lie the ego tells to stay in power. Deconstructing your ego doesn't mean you give up on life, quit your job, or lose your awesome personality. It simply means you stop identifying with these labels as your core existence.
To really grasp this, think of it like playing a video game. To play any game, you absolutely need an avatar, right? You pick out the clothes, you upgrade their skills, you choose a cool name, you play the game seriously, and yeah, for sure, you try to win. It's fun, but you never, for a single second, forget that you are not actually the digital character on the screen.
When the character dies or loses a level, you don't sit there feeling like your actual real life is over. You just learn from the mistake, hit restart, and keep playing. And that is exactly what life looks like when you finally realize you are not your ego. You gain this incredible ultimate freedom to play the role of manager or parent or artist, but without the crushing weight of your entire self-worth being on the line if you happen to make a mistake.
And that brings us to Section 4, Finding the Stable Self. So the crucial point is how we apply these daily practices. First up is the I am pause. Instead of reacting and saying, I am stressed, stop for a second and say, I am observing a feeling of stress. That tiny little linguistic shift, it creates a massive, liberating gap between your ego and the witness. Second, try something called identity fasting. Go somewhere completely new, a different city, or just a quiet park a few towns over, where literally nobody knows your name or what you do for a living. Notice how much energy it usually takes to maintain your character, and just soak in the amazing silence of being a nobody for an afternoon. Finally, the deathbed perspective. Look, on your deathbed, your job title and your Instagram aesthetic won't matter at all. What actually remains is the quality of your consciousness and the love you shared. We need to start living from that place right now.
I want to leave you with this really powerful visual metaphor. You are not a label, you are not a LinkedIn profile, and you are sure as hell not the reflection in the mirror. Your ego, with all its daily drama, its big successes, its crushing failures, is just the weather. And you know the weather? It changes every hour. Sometimes it's a dark, scary storm, and sometimes it's a stunningly beautiful sunset. But your true self, that is the sky. The sky is vast, it's unchanging, and it's always there. It is never touched by the clouds, and it is never, ever diminished by the rain. Stop trying to constantly fix the weather, and start being the sky. And that brings us to our final question for you to deeply reflect on today. Are you playing the game, or are you letting the game play you? Next time you feel your identity being threatened, take a step back. Remember that suitcase full of stickers and connect with that quiet witness inside. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.
Please like, share, comment and subscribe this channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.